How everybody doing today? ZuriFx trades. Hope everybody doing all right today. Hope everybody having a blessed day. Let's get to these charts, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the two setups I mentioned before. First one happened Monday, 28th, during Tokyo session, which starts at 8 p.m. EST. Second one was around this area during New York session. We're going to go over Mondays first. All right, so we're not going to go over this setup. I'm going to delete this. All right. So as you can see, we had a downtrend structure right in this area. Led from up here. Downtrend, that was basically a continuation leg of structure. Or a continued leg of structure. Tokyo session started 8. We in a downtrend, so I'm looking for down order blocks to get invalidated or disrespected. And then for price to start to respect up order blocks, or in other words, bullish order blocks. And then I mark up the 15-minute order block. When price comes back into the zone that I marked up, I then go to the 1 minute. So as you can see, downtrend, pull it back, down order block, this candle, engulf this candle, as well as this candle, down order block or a bearish order block, purple engulf the blue. Then we have price close above the wick point of that 2 candlestick formation, or that engulf. That invalidates the downtrend. Now, all I'm looking for is up order blocks to be respected after this pullback, because once it takes out a high, it's going to pull back. So what you're looking for is up order blocks. You have one right here, but this is 1 p.m. Wasn't my trading session. Over here, starting at 8 around, what's this candle? Yeah, 9 p.m. We had an up order block. This blue candle engulfed this purple candle, which means that's a bullish order block. Now with this trade, I was anticipating price to come back to my zone, and it did, but that was not my setup for this one. So let me now go to the 1 minute. Go back to the same area. Maybe right here, 28. So this box right here, the green outline, that's my 15-minute zone. So again, I'm looking for price to come back and reverse, which it did. But again, that's not the setup that I took for this setup. For this setup, I knew since we were bullish, price had to retrace. And that was the 15-minute zone that I have marked was the most current zone that continued after the transition to the upside. So all I waited for was my entry protocol that I would have got down here, up here, symbolizing the start of the retest to go back down into my zone. So I could have caught a buy, but by this time I was KO'd. It was over. I actually fell asleep on this trade. But as you can see, price entered a range until about 10. And what I like, one way I identify a trend change or a trend transition is when we're in an uptrend, as soon as we get an engulfing candle that gets disrespected or invalidated, that's when the trend wants to change. Prime example, we got an uptrend. But mind you, we're not in our zone or in our trading time yet. So we got an uptrend. I wouldn't count this engulfing because there's a doji attached to it. So we wait. No up and we looking for up engulfings. So big bullish candles to that engulf the purple candle to then get closed below. So when this happened and price closed below this point, that's basically indication that it wants to change the trend. Now you could have played this part, but you'd have been waiting longer. But I just I don't really like that setup because there's a doji. A doji is this candle right here. You had a small body but long wicks on both sides. If there's an engulfing attached to that, I don't like taking that setup. I like to see a big body candle. So we had an up engulfing right here. This two candlestick setup, but it didn't close below the two candlestick setup. So this doesn't count. Had this engulfing, no close below. This engulfing, no close below. Bring it out to the side. This engulfing, no close below. This is a small engulfing, but no close below. Same thing, looking for up engulfing. Here we go right here. This blue and got this purple. That's up order bot and uptrend. So we're looking for that to get disrespected. So we had price close below this two candlestick formation. All you're looking for is a retest to that structure of that zone. And you get in for a sell to ride it down. Now, I caught it late. I didn't get in on the retest up here. I got in when this candle right here closed as an engulfing. And then I wrote it down. I believe I got in at, I believe it was like right in here, 33.18 maybe. So let me check it. Yeah, 33.18. The bottom 500 profit. This morning I made the 284. I took a partial and then the rest of it was 41. But we'll get to that in the second setup. But I got in at 33.18.14 and I took it down to 33.12.54. So 33.18.14, 33.12.54. So if I grab my tools, my short position, which is the sell, 33.18.14. So I was a little lower than I thought. So right in there, well, let me go to the 14 exact, and then 12.54. Exactly right there. And this was my trade setup. A little bit over a 1 to 2. Net profit for this trade, as you saw, was 504. I want to say, yeah, 504 flat, and that was a setup for the 28th of July, Monday night. Now we're gonna go back to the 15, go to the second setup, which occurred Tuesday, July 29th. Now, same thing. We in the uptrend. So I'm looking for up engulfing candles or up order blocks to be disrespected or invalidated on the 15-minute. So again, we got this uptrend. Looking for that engulfing. And we get it right here. Now, let me backpedal a little bit. I know I said I don't like using engulfing setups that have a doji attached to it. But in this case, the next two candles not only engulfed the doji, but it engulfed the candle before it because this candle and this candle closed above the opening price. The opening price of 1, 2, these two candles. So this is an engulfing candle setup on the higher time frame. So maybe like the 30-minute. That'll be an engulfing formation. and that won't be a doji because these two would be considered one candle. These two would be considered one candle. These two engulf these two. The only reason why I drew the zone out like that. Also, you see I drew the zone from both of the bodies and not just this order block right here, which would look like this if I were to draw it as an order block, a two candlestick formation order block that engulfed it. When it engulfed it, it invalidated this engulfing setup. Remember, we're in an uptrend now. It's breaking and making new highs, not creating new lows, creating new highs, new higher highs. Once that ends, we get an engulfing, the up engulfing, invalidated. Here we go right here. Then that's when we know the trend wants to change again. So this candle engulfed both of these. So I would draw my zone out from here. Go ahead and delete this one. And then our entry point is right in here. And we're looking for the same thing. So we got our zone, got our box, price pushed away, came back. Now, step 2, go to the 1 minute. And this is the beginning of where price tapped into our 15-minute zone. So now we're looking for a market structure shift. So since we're looking for price to pull back so we can continue selling, we want to look for price to manipulate back up, create a minor uptrend back up to our zone. And then when it gets to our zone, that's when we wait for a reaction. So all we waiting for is either one way is an up order block to get invalidated. You can use as entry protocol on the 1 minute time frame. You can use a breaking structure. So we had a pull back into this zone. Then we had a pullback to a new low. It led to a lower high. And then this lower high is validated by this body candle closing below these wicks. This is a new lower low. So once I get that, no more once price stop making higher highs, higher high, higher high, higher high, and start making lower lows, lower low, lower low, that's when you know is another way you know that the trend is trying to change. When price stop making higher highs and higher lows, which symbolize an uptrend, and then starts making lower highs and lower lows, which symbolize a downtrend. Once you get that, you can use that pullback after the breaking structure as your entry. Now, I used liquidity for this. Since we didn't have that much momentum when we had our market structure shift, when it broke and closed below this low. Pullback was going to come regardless. But there was really no clear order block or supply that it will retrace to that has not been mitigated. This one was mitigated by this. This one was mitigated by this, but then it ended up breaking through it. So I'm looking for sales. So as long as price don't come up in this area above this high right here, I'm good. So for this entry, I had the highs marked out just to, just to track it. So I'm like, okay, where we want to pull back at, as long as it's not making a new higher high that coming back past the highest point of the transition to the downside, we in there. So I marked the highs. Price ended up coming up and testing this high, but it wicked and it gave me an engulfing candle. That was my entry. There was no need for anything else to wait for anything else to happen. This was my entry. And I believe I started at 1 and 2, same, a little over. And this one netted me 284 plus that 4160 off of this setup. All on gold. New York session, which starts at 8 a.m., ends at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. EST. And then Tokyo session starts at 7 p.m., ends at 2 a.m. EST. But the momentum for Tokyo session comes in at 8 p.m. EST. And the momentum for a New York session comes in at 9:30 a.m. EST my time. So around those two times every day, you can find this setup multiple times. All you have to do is be patient, wait for your checklist, which would be look for a trend on the 15 minute, look for the trend to go against itself. So when the trend starts to not validate anymore, say in a downtrend, when it stops to invalidate or when it stops validating down order blocks, that's when you know you want to get a. That's when you know you're about to get a reversal, a potential reversal. It's not going to happen every time. It's not 100%, but you need to pay attention to structure, and then that'll give you your answer whether it's going to happen when you catch it in that moment in time. Vice versa for a uptrend. You're looking for up order blocks to get invalidated. That's when you know a potential trend reversal is about to happen. And as you can see, as soon as this trade came out, we got a downtrend, down order block. It came up, but it didn't close above with volume or momentum. Downtrend, down order block, pullback. So when you waiting for the pullback, this down order block should be the last one that you're looking for because it led to a new lower low. It should be the last lower high that you're looking for on the 1 minute um, to get invalidated before you look for a reversal. So we had to close above, came back and retest, and shot up straight like that. So trend, wait for trend to start reversing. Mark your zone on the 15 minute and wait for a pullback. Once you get your pullback, go to the 1 minute. On the 1 minute, you wait for a market structure shift, or in other words, a trend change in the form of structure being broken in the opposite direction after tapping into your zone. A doji candle followed by a big body candle or an engulfing candle formation at your zone used as an entry. And that's how you look at it. It's basically right here with this liquidity setup that I caught. So it came up, wicked it, didn't close up there, gave it an engulfing. So off this zone, you got an engulfing. You had an engulfing right here. You could have put it your stop loss above the zone or whatever. You would have caught that. So it all depends on how you wanna, what type of trader you are. You want to just get in off the engulfing off the zone, like the first one you see, or do you want to wait for structure to get broken so you can actually visually see the change, or do you want to wait for liquidity to get taken, or do you want to wait for after you get the structure shift, get a wait for an engulfing right after? So it's a lot of ways you could have played this entry right here alone. There's like 5 different entry points that I could have used, but I chose to use what I saw at the time, which was the liquidity sweep entry. And the rest was history, man. 500 to 1,000 a day, trading only at 2 specific times of the day. One in the morning, if you can't trade that, you can catch the one at night during the 8 p.m. Trading session. So it all depends on what works for you. But yeah, that was my setups for last night going into today. I'm gonna catch you on another one.